Hello, welcome back to another installment of your math notes. So I'm going to go fairly quick because it's a video. You guys can pause it, rewind it, fast forward. You can do all those things, okay? Don't fast forward me. I want to keep it as limited as possible. So our standard for today is M, G, S, E, 7. We're in 7th grade standards. .e, expressions and equations, standard 3. Standard 3 goes through multi-step, more complex equations. Today is titled multi-step equations. And before we went to this online learning, we already titled this in our table of contents, unless you were absent that day. So it's multi-step equations, and then we are calling it combining. It's what it is titled in our table of contents. But I'm going to write combining like terms. Or you could say combining terms. It's the same thing. I am going to give you a process of solving. So it's going to be steps that are a process for solving these equations, and just like the two-step, it's kind of like we're doing order of operations backwards. So here is your process of solving. And you know I'm using my colors to jazz this thing up, because if I didn't, you guys would be even sadder. So this is all for you. Yay, colors. So when working these problems, the very first thing we're going to do is combine like terms on each side of the equation. So we're going to have some terms that we'll have to combine. So combine like terms on each side. And I'll be referring to these directions or these steps each time we work through some problems. I'll be referring to these. The second one is move all variables to one side. We need our variables on one side of the equation and then our constants on the other. So, speaking of constants, step 3, move all constants to the other side. Then, using the steps of solving two-step equations, we will add or subtract, depending on the sign. And then lastly, we will multiply or divide. Now, keep in mind that these two may change order if there are fractions involved, okay, or our equation looks a little bit different. Okay, so let's work through some examples. Number 1. I'm going to give you the problem. I'm going to slide this up a little bit as well. And now you can pause this. It's a video, so if I'm going too fast, you just pause it. Number 1, 5n plus 3 plus 4n equals 30. So I'm starting you out pretty simple on most all of these, to where we have one number on one side. Now you guys are used to splitting the two sides of the equation, so I'm going to do that because I know you're used to that. Okay, our first item, combine like terms. Well, I do have terms that indeed I do need to combine. So we're going to combine 5n's and 4n's. We need to combine those guys. 5n plus 4n gives me 9n. And then my 3's a loner, bless his heart. So we'll bring him straight down. So now we have 9n plus 3 equals 30. And now you're looking at a two-step equation, okay? Because step 2, move all variables to one side. I don't need to worry about that. Step 3, move all constants to the other side. I do need to worry about that, but I'm going to have to follow step 4 to do that. This 3 needs to be with the 30, so let's move him over there. In order to move him over there, we need to subtract 3 from both sides. When I subtract 3, I'm left with 9n on the left, and the difference between 30 and 3 is 27. Now my very last step is to multiply or divide, and I do have 9 times n, so to get rid of the 9, I must divide both sides by 9. And now 27 divided by 9 gives n a value of 3. And we are done with that problem. Number 2. So I'm going to slide this up a little bit more. Number 2, we're going to, same order sort of, but I'm going to flip it around. So I'm going to say 60 is equal to negative, got to have a negative in there, 2m plus 18 minus 4m. Again, since you guys are used to it, I'm going to draw that line between the two sides so I can see my left and right side both equally. Okay, now let's do our first step. Let's combine like terms. We have negative 2m and a negative 4m. They're both the same sign. They're both negative. Therefore, when I combine them, I actually will combine them. Negative 2, negative 4 make negative 6. So now I have 60 equals negative 6m plus 18. Now he's alone again, just like the 3, we bring him down. Okay, so step 2, move all variables to one side. He's already over here. I just need to move on step 3 my constant of 18 to the left hand side with 60 by adding or subtracting. Since he is adding to stay, we will subtract him to get him to go away. So when we subtract 18 from both sides, on the right hand side we're left with negative 6. Negative 6m. So things are looking better over there. On the left, 60 minus 18 leaves you with 42. Feel free to pause this and finish it yourself and see how you do. Now I need to get rid of negative 6. Because he's multiplying by the m, I shall divide both sides by negative 6. And the quotient of 42, which is positive, and negative 6 gives me a negative 7. Remember, when we're multiplying and dividing, positive and negative, when they're different, the negative takes over. Ooh, I almost used the wrong color. You guys know how I am with that colors. Can't use the wrong color. That'd be detrimental. Okay, on to number 3. Again, if I'm going too fast, you pause this. Number 3, we have 10 plus 9y minus 14y equals negative 5. I would love for you to pause the video right here. Try this one on your own with a pencil. Then when you're done, resume it and see how you did. Because I'm pretty confident you've got this. Okay, now I need to combine my like terms. They are actually right beside each other. But look, I have a positive 9, a negative 14. They are different signs. We must find the difference and take the sign of the number with the highest absolute value. So when I combine them, I'm going to end up with a negative. And I'm going to have a negative 5 because that 14 is bigger. I'm going to just put my 10 down here, bring him down, and do 10 minus 5y. I'm going to leave it like this. Now, if you want to do plus negative 5, that's fine. It's the same. Is equal to negative 5. Alright, now I've got to move my 10 to the right-hand side with my negative 5. He's a positive 10, so we shall subtract him from both sides. Now, if you're paying attention, you'll notice that now we have a negative and we're combining it with another negative on the right hand side. So I have to combine these and get negative 15, and don't forget this guy's a negative 5y. So I must now divide both sides by negative 5 to get rid of him. Gotta get that y by itself. That's always the goal. So divide both sides by negative 5, and the value of y is a positive 3, because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. I hope if you paused it, then resumed it to check yourself, you got it right. If so, I knew you would get it. If not, just learn from your mistakes, and let's fix it next time. So feel free to write down number 4 and do the same. Negative 6 equals negative 8 plus 2m minus m minus 2. A little bit longer, but not more complicated. I'm going to split my two sides of my equation. I need to combine my terms. But here I've got two different sets. Negative 8 is a constant and can be combined with negative 2. They come together and form negative 10. So don't you get tricked by that. You should see it eventually if you keep looking at it. And then I have 2m's minus 1m, which just leaves me with an m. So I'll do negative 10 plus m. If you want to put a 1 in front of the m, if it makes you feel better, go for it. I'm going to bring my negative 6 down. Alright, so I've got an m on the right hand side. Let's get rid of the negative 10. So in order to get rid of him, I must add him to both sides, because that is his opposite. Remember, only opposites cancel each other. So when I add him to both sides, he cancels on the right hand side. I'm left with m. I don't even need to divide or multiply now. Things are looking good. I'm happy. Negative 6, positive 10. I must find the difference. 10 is bigger. He has bigger absolute value. So the sign's going to be positive, and the difference is 4. So the value of m is 4. Now, if you wanted to check this, you could just take your value, plug it into the original, and solve the right hand side to see if you get negative 6, and you definitely should. I do not have any more examples for you on this. That is all with it, okay? So now that you have this, you are good to go and do the next thing on your list.